A History of Creation, Part 4, October 15, 2013. This is another one of those messages that perhaps will make many a head spin, but we do know that this will not be new knowledge to any of you. In fact, this is what has been imprinted within you all from the very beginning, not only for this life, but from eternity. For you all share the same blueprint, as you all hail from the same ether, and as such, nothing is news to any of you, nor will it be. But for special reasons, you have been programmed to disable the old memory banks you carry with you, and so, life as a human being began. But now, when you are stepping into your full powers again as true creators, you will be allowed to access it all once again. For what once was considered as a hindrance, will now once again be an asset, as you have managed to rewire yourselves sufficiently to access the higher vibrational spheres from where you once came. For this is all about vibration, of harmonics, of sound if you will, set up to play a certain tune that will harmonize with everything else that is. For all of creation is nothing more than an enormous piece of music, all created by separate notes put together to play out in dissonance and in consonance. It depends how you look at it. Or rather, listen. For what you see is really what you hear, in other words, that you perceive, is vibration, but these vibrations can take many different shapes and forms, and they can be visual as well as oral. You see, everything is humming its own tune, it is shaking and dancing to its inner harmonics, and these are what make them visible, both to the eye and to other receptors of vibration. But the sea of possibility can be likened to a sea of tranquility, as it needs to be stirred into action in order to become something. As we said, it can be likened to lighting a match in a dark room in order to see the match, for it is there but it cannot be perceived, and as such it is the observer who puts it all into motion. And as soon as it is given momentum, it starts to be, and then, it can be perceived as a vibration of a specific frequency. For mass is simply energy defined within a specific frequency, and you as the observer can perceive it because you are able to discern these frequencies. But, as we have touched upon in an earlier message, you are both the receiver but also the transmitter, as you are the creator, and you are the one observing creation. So you give life by sending out a vibration, and you make it come about by observing the effect it has on the sea of possibility that lies dormant if you will until it is touched by you or by anyone else sending out their vibration. This can in some way be likened to those new three-dimensional machines that humans have made now, whereby you send electronic signals into a device that in turn will turn these signals into a tangible, functional object in 3 dimensions. For creation works in the exact same way. Vibrational information is being projected into a cloud of energetic particles, and these particles are then reassembled according to the modular information in these incoming vibrations, and so they form into a certain shape, or form that these vibrational messages describe. We can give you another image for it, and that is the image of a drop of water being dropped into a container of liquid, and as the drop hits the surface, the membrane of this liquid, you will see how a new drop is formed and ejected up from this surface. It is not the same drop that hits it, rather a mirror image of it being produced by the volume of liquid that this first drop merges with. So it is with the act of creation. You send out a droplet of information, and when it connects with the surface of this sea of particles, a new droplet will be formed and ejected from this sea of energetic soup. So what you put in, you get out, for this is not a random act. This is something that is at all times very specific. It is not a luck of draw, where you sit and stare out into space waiting for whatever may be conjured up from your interactions with it all. No, this is all by design, and when you start to interact in a conscious way, you will literally see this for yourself. And this is also the reason why humanity has been bereft of this ability for such a long time. For in order to be allowed to create from this fountain of possibilities, you need to be in harmony with the pervading frequency that rules over it all, the God frequency if you will, the one that can allow, the one that is allowed to beget, and as such, you needed to come a very long way indeed before you were able to tap into this frequency. For that is what ascension is about, it is all about setting up the modular frequency that your being can carry, and as you all know, the lower the frequency, the less ability to interact with the higher ones. And rightly so. As nothing not sufficiently pure, that is, untainted by the lower forms of vibration, can and will be allowed to frequent the higher ones. they cannot interact with this ocean of creative energy, for they are very much in discord with it, and as such, they cannot constitute any threat if you will to this process at all. But you needed to be purged of these discordant vibrations in order to be able to receive and transmit this new sound of freedom. For as we have told you again and again, you have started to find your voice, and you are starting to use it to sing yourself and so much around you into being by the voice that you are able to emit from being able to literally tune into this God field of frequency. This frequency is a very specific one, and it is the same frequency that can be detected whenever anyone is able to listen in on the vibration that pervades everything that is. For everything sings to the same notes, but in addition, they have their own individual tune that they carry, the tune that makes them, or it, a specific separate object from everything else. But in order for it to exist at all, it must comply to that underlying frequency from whence it came, the sea of creative energy, the liquid that formed those separate objects in the first place. But again, what you will be doing now, is to send out your specified frequency into this malleable energetic liquid, and you will do so with a very specific order in mind. For you will be sending out an order in the form of a vibrational information package, and when this package interacts with this liquid, it will produce a drop, or an object, something tangible that complies to these specific instructions that you have sent out. It may sound very complicated, and in some ways it is, but the process in itself is literally as easy as child's play. For what you focus on, will be sent out from you in the form of a very defined vibration that in turn will be picked up as sensory input by this ocean of energetic particles, and the input will be transmitted right back as a mirror image, as a specific output. Again, this is a simple explanation of the process, but the underlying mechanisms, if you will, are very complex indeed. For this is not a free-for-all, an opportunity to create whatever you feel the need for at any given time. Remember, this is a collective process, one where each and every one of you have a designated part. For what you will create, is very much a part of a huge and complex creation already designed, and as such, the blueprints have been drawn up, and you have all been thoroughly briefed on what part is on your to-do list. This may sound like you are not in control of anything at all, that is not the case, but what it does say, is that this is not something that has been or will be left to chance. You see, you came to be here at this exact time in order to make this whole process come about, and as such, you are like small pieces in a huge machinery, all set to create a version of humanity and of this planet that can only be likened to what you have seen in your wildest dreams. And the reason you have seen it in your dreams, is because you have already seen it come true. For remember, time is also a malleable thing, and as such, this whole process has already taken place, but for you, it is only just beginning. We hope this will not take away the joy of it all, rather, that it will help you to understand that you cannot go wrong here, for you have already done this. But again, this process must take place at this exact time for you in order to make it come about for you are the ones that will make it happen, and you are the ones who are in control of it all. For now, you have all been hooked up to this multi-dimensional machine that will create whatever it is that your consciousness will ask it to create. And remember, as you have already done this, you will not be able to order something to be created that is literally out of order. For you cannot fail, and as such, we will simply ask you to revel in the thought that you will be creating your own dream, and now, that dream will finally become reality. Not only for you, but for everyone else hooked up to this magnificent grid of the new,